Alright, CNT120, Chapter 3 Lab. We are looking at the section now on domain names. So we're going to do some tests connectivity from the Harrisburg PC to the web server. We're going to try to ping the web server name, HTTP server. That's what he's called over here, HTTP server. So we're going to open up the Harrisburg PC. We're going to open up the command prompt over here. And we're going to try to ping HTTP server. And we're going to try to let that run. And what we'll notice is it's going to start timing out. Okay, we'll let it run here, and we'll see it start timing out. Okay, I can even speed up time. Let me slide this over here. Here we go. Here's our speed up time. I can speed up time a little bit, hit that a couple times, go back there. It's like, hey, I could not find that host name, HTTP server. All right, well, let's try to ping the address of the web server, 192.168.30.4. Bam, that goes right through. So the IP address worked, but the name did not. Okay. Let's try now with a browser. Let's try opening up the name for the website, www.cnt.org. So I will go here, open up the web browser. Again, give it a second to load. There we go. You can do it. We'll do www.cnt.org. We'll try that. I'll even speed up time here a little bit. Hit it a couple times. Go back here. Hostname unresolved. All right. Let's try the IP address of the web server. 168.30.4. Opens right up. So we couldn't ping the name of the server, but we could ping the IP. We can't open the website name, but we can open it via the IP. Okay. Let's try one more thing. I'm going to go to the command prompt on this guy, and hopefully remember reading about the NSLOOKUP command. So we're going to try the NSLOOKUP, and we're going to try the NSLOOKUP for. Okay, we're going to try NSLOOKUP for that domain, that website name, www.cnt.org. And again, I can sit here and wait, or I can use the speed up button. I'm going to hit it about 3 times. Go back here, timeout, timeout, timeout. It's like, okay, it's trying, but it's not getting any information. Well, the Harrisburg connection over there is not working. Let's try real quickly on the Philadelphia side to see if we get any difference, because that is on the same network as the web server. So we'll go through and do the same tests. Let's try to ping the web server by name. So ping HTTP server. Again, I'll use the speed up button here. Timeout. Let's try to ping by IP. Goes right through. Let's try the browser. Let's try opening the website by name and then by IP. You can do it. There we go. www.cnt.org. Again, I'll use the speed up button here. Hostname unresolved, but let's do the IP, 192.168.30.4. Goes right through. Let's use the command prompt now, and let's try the NSLOOKUP. We're like NSLOOKUP, www.cnt.org. Again, I'll use the speed up button here. Boop, boop, boop. Timeout, timeout, timeout. All right. So we are getting the web server by its IP. No matter how we use the IP, we're getting there. But anytime we try to use a name, whether we ping a name, open a website by name, or even use the NSLOOKUP to say, what do you know about this name? I get no response. It times out every time. That lets us know there's an issue with the DNS server in resolving the name to an IP. I keep trying the name. It goes, So let's go to the DNS server. So we're going to open the DNS server. And let's go to the Services tab, and we'll look for the DNS service over here. So let's open up the DNS server. We'll slide this over here. I'm going to go to the Services tab. Let's open up the DNS tab. Here is a whole bunch of entries. These are all A records. These are for IP version 4. Here's a name with its IP, name with its IP, name with its IP, and so forth. Okay, so we have a lot of named IP here, but you'll notice that this DNS service is off. So it's not responding to anything. Well, let's turn this service on and see if we get any different responses than network. We should, because as I try a name now, like we have here, HTTP server, it should resolve in that IP and give us connection. I type in a name, CNT.org, it should resolve it to an IP and give us a connection now. So let's go back and retry our steps here. And we want to try to ping the web server. Okay. So over here at the Harrisburg PC, let's try to ping HTTP server. And it resolved that into 30.4 immediately, and I got connection. There we go. Okay. Let's open a browser of this guy. And we'll try to open the website by name now, CNT.org. Okay. So let's go to www.cnt.org. And it resolved it into the IP for us and loaded the web page. Yay! Okay. Let's try the last test we were doing. We're going to do the command prompt. We'll do the NS lookup for that domain name. So at our command prompt here, we'll do NS lookup. And watch your typing, Mr. Brown. NS lookup, www.cnt.org. Again, watch your typing. It immediately resolved that into this IP and let us know this domain name is connected to this IP. Those two are connected. So now that the DNS service is running, it's resolving our names to IPs immediately and giving us the connections that we were getting when we were just going straight to IP previously. Okay. All right. So now we'll try the Philadelphia PC, same as we did the Harrisburg. Let me jump over here to the Philadelphia PC, and all of this should work. I should be able to ping HTTP server. I get a ping. If I open a command prompt, I should be able to load that website now. You can do it, little computer. You can do it. www.cnt.org. The little web page loads right away. And if I go to the command prompt here again, if I do NS lookup, www.cnt.org, I get a name to IP resolution like immediately. Yeah, our DNS server is now running so it can resolve all of these for us. Okay, now that that is working, in our text file, we want to gather the result of that NS lookup command. So over here on, I think we did the Philadelphia PC last. I'm going to go back to the command prompt here. And down here was my NS lookup, my successful NS lookup. This is the one we want, where it has the name we put in resolved to the IP address. We're going to copy that. I'm going to go over here to my text file, and we're going to say domain names. So I know what part we're looking on, and we'll say NS lookup command results. And I will plug that in there. There we go. So now that's our first result from the domain names. So we know now the service is running, all of those things are functioning as they should, and our NS lookup is actually giving us a result back. Okay. Let's now take a look at some of this traffic that we have. So on the laptop, let's go to the Philadelphia laptop now. We want to generate some traffic for the sniffer. Let me close that out. I'm just going to minimize this. All right, so on the Philadelphia laptop, we're going to open the web browser and we're going to browse to the web server that's there. Then we're going to look at the sniffer and look at some of that traffic. Now, if this makes it easier, this is one time you can go into the sniffer. Since we had all kinds of traffic here, you can clear this out. And now we'll generate new traffic from the laptop. So I will open the web page, and I should now see that domain name traffic, if you will. You can do it, little browser, you can do it. So we'll do www.cnt.org. We'll load that web page. Good. So it now generated traffic for the sniffer to look at. So if I open the sniffer, I should then see the laptop had to resolve that name. We have the TCP port number setting up the connection. We'll talk about that in Chapter 4. We'll talk about this process more in Chapter 4. Here's the web page loading and then TCP shutting it down. This is what we should be seeing here. That's the results we should be seeing. If it doesn't show that way, clear it out and just reload the web page, and you should hopefully see all those results then for you. All right, let's take a look. We want to look at DNS, and we want to look at the source and destination IP here. So let's look at the DNS, the DNS header. We want to look at the source destination IP. This is coming from the laptop going to the DNS server. And now let's look at the UDP header, because DNS is it needs to be a quick response, so it's using UDP instead of TCP. A lot less header fields, a lot less overhead. So the source port was coming from the browser again, that high port number coming from my browser in Packet Tracer. Destination going to 53, which I'm doing a little dance here. That's the port number for DNS. 53 is your port number for DNS. So this is coming from my browser going to the DNS server. If I look at one of the next ones here, I will most likely see those ports flip-flop coming from the DNS server back to my browser, coming from the DNS server IP, coming back to my laptop IP. That's what I'm seeing. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so let's gather those port numbers that we were looking at in that UDP header. We want to grab those DNS port numbers, if you will, from that UDP header. So over here in my text file, let's put in here our DNS, I'll say DNS traffic, and I want to put in here port numbers. I'll put UDP port numbers. All right, so now let's get the contents of the source header field, UDP header field. Copy. And then I'm going to do the destination header field, contents of UDP destination header field. Copy. You can do it. And I will go over here to my packet capture. And the source port here, in this case, on this one I'm looking at, if I look at the one before, that's the one I originally looked at. The source was coming from our browser going to the DNS server. So I'll use that one. That one looks a little bit better for what we're doing. So the source port coming from my browser, the destination port 53 going to the DNS server. So there is my UDP header fields for this DNS traffic. All right. So now that we have the DNS server up and running and it can resolve names, we can actually communicate by using domain names like www.cnt.org. The DNS server turns into an IP, and now I can communicate with the web server and load the web page. So there is a little bit about my domain names and the DNS service that's running on the back end. Okay, at this point, I would just make sure I have all my pieces from my lab. Let me close one or two things out here. I'm going to save my packet tracer. On my text file, I'm going to save my text file. And I'm just going to scroll down through and make sure I have all the pieces. So up at the very beginning, there's a bunch of stuff in here. We have our Ethernet header, source, and destination. There it is. We then have pings, the two pings from the static IP. Here's my Harrisburg PC. There's my Harrisburg laptop pings. We should have dynamic IP results from the Philly PC and laptop, which I do. There's my dynamic IP from the Philadelphia PC and then the Philadelphia laptop. Here is my ping to the web server. I have those in there, ping to the web server, ping to the web server. Then here is my IP header field source and destination. Here is my IP version 6 ping. IP version 6 ping. Here's the IP6 header fields. There's my port numbers. Here's my domain name NS lookup. We're gotten through these pretty quickly. And then last but not least, my UDP port numbers down there. So I have all the pieces. I'll save that, and I will make sure this text file gets submitted to D2L for the Chapter 3 lab.